Okay, this is pretty cool. Did you see this too?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the sea squirt.
Sea squirt.
Yes, we are looking for the siphons of the sea squirt.
Yeah, let me ask you, did this organism start as a single cell? Did it start off its existence as a single cell?
No. These are metazoans.
Huh?
These are, we're studying metazoans, so I can tell you that.
But how do you become a metazoan by having increased
Multicellular
organism? How do you get a multicellular?
from a single cellular.
That's right. Hey, and by that we're going to go next door and we're going to talk part 2 about cells, okay? I'm going to pick up the chart. In fact, you bring it over for me. There's somewhere in this room a chart that deals with mitosis, and bring it over. Okay, let's go on over. This is zoology, and there is one of our instructors. And see, they're doing all kinds of things. But let's go across the whole.
Oh, I see the thing coming out.
Yeah, this is room 207. Over here, they study bones of animals and tissues and things like that. Over there, you just left the zoo lab. But come on in. All right, so that was the class of zoology. So I was quizzing a young lady. It was a lower life form called a tunicate, and it's a metazoan. Metazoan means multicellular. That's all it really is. Science is like that. They use fancy words when something very simple means a multicellular organism, typically in the animal genre. Okay. Now this is part 2 of cells, and we're going to pick up from the first part. So remember last time I said, how many of you started as a single cell? All of us did. And now you've become an aggregate of maybe 100 million cells, you see? So we're going to take a look at how that happened, all right? So let me draw you on the board here. That's you, and again, you have happy campers, so there's a smile on your face, all right? So you are an organism made up of organ systems, organs, tissues, big as lungs. You know that, right? What if an eyeball start growing and become big as a lung? That would be a problem, wouldn't it? And some cells you have to reproduce all the time. For instance, this is springtime of the year and people are out gardening and doing things, so they'll get calluses on their hands. And that's related to an increased cell activity. Now, here's what I want to show you today. Cells have a life of their own. You can look at the secret life of cells. The secret life of cells. The secret life of cells. And what happens is there's this thing in cell biology that's really important called the cell cycle. And let's just do it like that. Okay? So we're going to have a cycle. The cycle is you start in one place and you go around and you come back to it. So there's this thing called the cell cycle, and it looks at how you have one cell like here, and it goes through division processes and it gives you 2 cells, okay? And that's how we got to be the size that we are. And that tunicate over there got to be the size it was from a single cell. So there's a process whereby one cell gives you 2 cells. You know what that's called? Yeah, it's called mitosis. Mitosis. I know you've heard of it before, maybe even from middle school, elementary school, certainly high school you've heard of it, okay? So there's this process called mitosis where one cell gives you 2 cells, and the catch is they are identical to the first cell. Now in us we have chromosomes. Remember chromosomes? We're going to talk about that later. How many chromosomes do you have in yourselves? You know? 46. So mitosis is a process whereby one cell with 46 chromosomes gives you 2 cells with 46 chromosomes. Okay? So a chromosome is made up of DNA, word I like to say, DNA and proteins. But let's just focus on the DNA. So if DNA is a major part of chromosomes and you start off with 46, you have enough DNA for 46 chromosomes. Now, think about it. If this one cell is going to divide and give you 2 cells with 46, you must duplicate the amount of DNA you have. And that brings us back to the cell cycle. So as it turns out, I'll go ahead and put it on their diagrams in your book. This is the point in when one cell has grown, it's going to give you 2 little cells, okay? And this is mitosis. So if I were to ask you, tell me the phases of mitosis, this is something students can kind of recite from memory. They'll say prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Okay. So those collectively are the parts of mitosis. Okay. Alpha, pro, meta, ana, and telo. And then everything from the end of one mitosis goes this way. This is the start. This is the end. Everything from the end of one mitotic section around till it starts again is called interphase. So when you ask students about naming the phases of mitosis, inevitably, even biology majors, they'll throw in interphase. But interphase is everything that mitosis is not. It's from the end of one around to the other. Now what happens in that? You start off with a cell that's a little guy, and what happens is it grows, and then it divides, okay? And then it does it over, and this is how you get more cells. Now why is it you aren't big as the world? Well, your cells die, okay? So you don't keep all the cells that are produced. So in this interphase, there's a part, I'm going to erase some of these little O's, because I don't want to confuse you. In fact, I'm going to just draw a brand new cell cycle. This is mitosis. This is the start. And it goes bing, 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 and this is the end. So everything between start and end is cell division is mitosis, and then everything else is interphase. So you have a point after this where the cell grows, and it's a part of the cell phase called G1 in fact. And it stands for growth 1, or in some cases gap 1. But for our purposes, we'll say growth 1. It's where the cell grows, okay? It's growing. And once it grows to a certain size, then it has to, as I said, you have enough DNA for 46 chromosomes, and then you end up with 46 in both. You must double the DNA. So then what happens is you end up with what's called S phase. This is the cell cycle. And what happens is the DNA doubles. So S stands for synthesis. Synthesis of DNA. When you synthesize something, you're making it. So what the cell has to do is to make DNA. The little divisions aren't quite, as it would be. And then you get to G2, where it has synthesized enough DNA to make, a double set of chromosomes, and now it stops it. The cell starts to back down and make chromosomes. So chromosomes are the little sausage-shaped structures that we'll talk about, in a bit. So this is the cell cycle. In fact, I think I'll only use this video for cell cycle. So what happens is the cell does this, and it takes a certain length of time. Some things do it very quickly, some do it slowly, see? Bacteria don't have a nucleus, but they replicate like this, and they can replicate in 20 minutes. They can just, boom, there's another one, boom, there's another one. But in humans, it's like 9 months to get another human. When you look at our different cells, they could take a few hours to months to a long time. So a problem is, here's your body. We say we don't want eyeballs as big as lungs, and we want the cells to be fair and play games, not play games, okay? We want them to be fair. So the cells in your body, which have 208 different kinds of cells, are at different places in your body, and there's only so many of them. So your cells will replicate, and when they get a certain number, that's the right number, guess what they do? They turn it off, they stop. And they stay where they should be. So in your lungs, they divide, they stay there, the pancreas, all over. But what happens sometimes, cells become bad for us. And they don't want to play fair. So what happens is they don't want to just replicate and stop when it's enough. And not only that, they say, I'm tired of being up in the lungs. I think I want to go somewhere else in the body. So whenever cells grow without obeying the rules of the body and control, and when they move around, guess what we have that's really a devastating kind of condition? We call it the big C. And everybody knows someone that's had this. Cancer. So cancer is a situation where cells get out of control. Cells gone wild. They grow, they don't obey the rules, and not only that, they move around. So you've heard of someone maybe getting cancer and they have an operation. And one of the biggest things is, did the cancer spread, okay? $10 word is called metastasis. Metastasize, that means it spreads. So this is another reason why your learning about cells is important, because when cells do this, they need to do it in the right way, okay? Cells need to stay where they need to be. So then the big question that science is always trying to figure out is, what disrupts the cell cycle so that cells go through this faster? And then not only that, the cells will migrate and go to other places, you see. So all of us started off as a single cell, and very early on, before you were born, your cells were replicating like crazy. Boop, 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 almost like bacteria. But as you got to be developed and you had the different parts, there was no need to do that, okay? So you start off as a single cell, then a ball of cells, and then your cells become different. They become skin cells, and muscle cells, nerve cells. They become different, and $10 word is differentiated. So when cells become cancerous, they often go back to like they were when they started, undifferentiated. When they become undifferentiated, they grow like crazy. Now, some cells in the news that are undifferentiated are stem cells. And that's a good thing, because those cells have the potential to turn into different kinds of cells. And that's something that you will have as a portfolio activity. So right now for this video, what I just wanted to share with you was the concept of a cell cycle. How cells replicate, they do mitosis, grow one, synthesize DNA, they back it down, make the chromosomes, run through prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So I'll do a separate video just on mitosis, okay? So for right now, we'll stop here. And the big deal is what causes this to occur. Cancer, for cells to become bad boys and not to obey the rules. So your books and the internet is filled with information, okay? All right, so I'll stop now and we'll come back with another video.